right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
New developments tonight surrounding the crash of a police cruiser into a South St. Louis bar. Just hours ago, the secret meeting shedding new light on the controversial confrontation between officers and the bar's owners. Tonight, controversy over curriculum in St. Charles County.
We are a district in crisis.
The push tonight in the Francis Howell School District to remove courses on Black history and literature. And welcome home, Ruby. The Foley team didn't win the voice, but she didn't lose the supports of the coaches.
Reba told me to reach out to her anytime. Gwen said some cool stuff, but I probably shouldn't share that.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Jackson. Mike has the night off. Winter officially arrived in St. Louis about 30 minutes ago, but it doesn't feel like it outside. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is tracking the rain and mild temperatures in his Weather First forecast. Scott.
Yeah, it is going to be a warm weekend ahead, and this warmer weather is going to stick with us right into Christmas Day. It also means we're going to have some rain to go around from time to time as well. Most of us in the metro area haven't seen much in the way of rainfall. Those of us that have seen a little bit, well, we're talking temperatures that are down into the 40s, but still above 50 degrees in many spots. That's the Chesterfield Valley. Here's a look out into St. Charles County right now. Again, lots of clouds, but most of what we've seen in terms of rainfall has been sliding by to our south. And what we've seen east of St. Louis here, over at Scott Air Force Base, back to Cahokia, just enough to get the ground a little wet. Now, these are a little more impressive showers here as you go west of Peevely, heading out towards Cedar Hill. They'll be moving through Hillsboro. You might get a couple of hundredths of an inch out of some of those, but we're going to see an uptick here as we go through the overnight hours in the showers as this whole system continues to work its way our way. But it's scattered showers initially. The next round of what we see will be the more widespread rain. That arrives in time for early on Friday, but some mainly dry weather for Saturday into the first part of Sunday. We'll talk about that Christmas Eve and Christmas Day rain chance in a bit.
Yeah, that's what everyone wants to know about, Scott. And between last-minute shopping and holiday travel, you want to make sure you have the latest Weather First forecast. You can get it straight on your phone by texting the word weather to 314-425-5355. About an hour ago, the Francis Howell School Board voted on a controversial issue during a heated meeting. It centered around removing Black history-related electives from the district's curriculum, a move many parents told 5 on Your Side's Robert Townsend they do not support.
Outside the Francis Howell School Board meeting Thursday night, dozens of parents chanted, "Let them learn! Let them learn! Let them learn!" Held signs that said equality for all and shared concerns about what they call a controversial issue on the board's agenda. The 7-member all-white board set to vote on whether to make Black history-related electives history. Lauren Chance is a senior at Francis Howell North High School.
Honestly, Black history is American history, and I think it's important that it's taught at our schools.
Our students really wanted this. Our families really wanted this. Our teachers really wanted this. And so it was put together. It's been going great.
The growing crowd of parents then moved inside the administration building, anxiously waiting to see how the school board would vote on the proposal to remove curriculum that is used for Black history and Black literature electives in the district. In July, the school board voted 5-2 to rescind the district's anti-racism resolution adopted in 2020. After hearing from multiple parents in more than 2 hours, the board voted 5-2 and passed the proposal.
Number one, I'm appalled and I'm very disheartened for our students.
It is a wrong move, and I think that their message is that they don't care about their students and they don't care about us learning.
Robert Townsend, 5 on Your Side.
After the meeting, several disappointed parents left with tears in their eyes. Supporters for the proposal were also there, including members from the group Francis Howell Families. Now to new developments tonight into the investigation surrounding a St. Louis police car that crashed into a South City bar Monday. Today, we have learned some city leaders got a look at body camera footage of the moments following the crash. Brent Solomon joins us now with what sources are telling us.
Hey there, Kelly. I just got off the phone with one city leader who was there. That person telling me even though a select group of people got a chance to see that video today, that person believes police should release the footage to the public to show transparency. A SLMPD officer says his radio distracted him when he crashed into Bar PM in South City Monday night. Shortly afterwards, police arrested one of the owners of the gay bar, saying he assaulted an officer. At a private meeting at police headquarters Thursday, a handful of city leaders and some LGBTQIA+ advocates got a chance to view certain angles of police body cam footage. Sources say the video did not show the moments leading up to the crash because police said the older model SUV didn't have a dash cam. The footage does show the bar owner in handcuffs and his partner visibly angry, according to sources. When viewing the confrontation with police, one source believes officers could have used better tactics to de-escalate the situation. In one angle of the footage, sources say they could see one of the owners shove an officer. They say the scene is too dark to see if there were any physical blows. That's when officers say the owner, with a black eye, asked why he was hit. And 5 on Your Side has not seen the body cam footage, but we have filed a request through Missouri's Sunshine Law. Police said they're not releasing it because it could compromise the investigation. Tonight, the attorney representing the bar owners tell me he didn't know about today's meeting. I'm told the police chief, by the way, was not there.
Tonight, the man accused in a road rage incident in downtown St. Louis is out of jail, but is facing new charges now. St. Louis County prosecutors filed assault charges on Robert Ellinger on Tuesday, the same day he was released on bond in St. Louis City. The Manchester man is accused of attacking a guard at a casino in August. Ellinger was arrested last month for the October 22nd beating at a downtown intersection. Cases of lead exposure linked to recalled cinnamon-flavored applesauce pouches are rising. More than 200 cases have now been reported across the country, and at least 5 children in Missouri have gotten sick by the contaminated applesauce, according to state health officials. An investigation by the Food and Drug Administration started in early November. The affected brands included Schnucks, Wise, and Wana Banana applesauce pouches, all cinnamon-flavored. We talked with a local pediatrician who says a new Missouri law requires all children under 6 should be screened for lead risk factors. Dr. Heidi Sally says lead poisoning can sometimes go unnoticed.
Where we usually see kids getting lead poisoning is from like paint in old houses or things like that. So it can be very subtle. If you have a sudden increase in your lead level and it's very high, you might see vomiting, you might see lethargy, you might see irritability in the children, but a lot of times you won't notice anything.
U.S. Senator Tammy Duckworth has joined other senators to ask the Senate Appropriations Committee to provide the FDA with additional resources to ensure food consumed by children in the U.S. is prepared safely and free of toxins. If you have any recalled applesauce, you are asked to open the product and discard it. Tonight, Ruby Lee is home from L.A. just 2 days after finishing as runner-up on this season of The Voice. It's the furthest anyone from Missouri has ever made it on the singing competition show. And Laura Barcheski was there as the teen sensation was surprised by fans at St. Louis Lambert International Airport.
Kelly, more than a dozen fans showed up at the airport to welcome Ruby Lee and her dad home. And even though the show is over, she says she's not done yet.
Country roads, take me home.
Ruby Lee's fan Emily, as they're lovingly called, showed up at Lambert International Airport on Thursday to welcome their local superstar home.
We're so happy for her and so excited. We know even though she came in second, she's #1 with us, and we know she's going to go far.
She's been a true inspiration for teenagers like Marley Simpkins.
It's been great to see that somebody just like me, small town girls, can make it big. And I just think it's great for people to have the inspiration to do that, to achieve your dreams no matter where you're from or what background you have.
Just as they were there to cheer her on at the beginning of the season, they were there at the end with the same energy. The Foley, Missouri 16-year-old says making history on this season of The Voice was truly an amazing experience.
So much great advice from all of the coaches, not just Reba. They've all been extremely helpful. And it was really cool. You know, it's an exciting moment. And, you know, when Huntley won, I was standing up there and I was just so happy for him. Like, I wasn't upset. I was genuinely just happy that he won because he's so deserving and such a nice person.
Her dad, Casey, says his favorite part was watching Ruby shine and grow her many talents.
And hear the things that the vocal coaches said, that, you know, the things that she possessed, you know, there's just a handful of people that's ever walked a planet that have that kind of vocal control. Is pretty special.
And as for what's next, Ruby says she's only getting started.
A lot of shows and, you know, touring and playing new places and seeing new faces. So pretty exciting.
Ruby tells me she's hoping to collaborate with other artists soon and possibly even tour in Canada in the new year. All very exciting for our hometown girl.
He's headed to prison for shooting at passing cars, but he doesn't remember pulling the trigger.
You remember going to sleep, and the next memory you have.
I was in handcuffs 30 miles away.
Tonight, just days before heading to prison, he shares with the I-Team his warning to others about a popular sleeping aid.
I think that Ambien should be taken off the market.
I'm not only tracking the rain, but unusually warm weather. We'll see you right here in 7 minutes.
Breaking now, a multi-county police pursuit ends with a crash between the suspect's car and a police cruiser in South St. Louis. Here is a live look near the intersection of Hampton and Chippewa, just outside the Target store where the scene was just cleared. According to police, this started with an armed robbery involving at a Phillips 66 station in St. Charles. The suspect's car was later spotted in North St. Louis County. Police pursued the car into South City and ended with the crash. The suspects were taken into custody. We are told no one was seriously hurt. New tonight, a man who shot at multiple people while driving says he doesn't remember a thing. Now he wants to warn others about the potential dangers of a prescription drug he blames for his actions. The I-Team has been following this case through the court system for the past 4 years. Tonight, Christine Byers explains whether others have used this defense and if this man will be going to prison.
Trent Swick went to bed on October 12, 2019 as an insurance executive, raising 3 kids with a clean criminal record. He says the next thing he knew, he was being accused of shooting at 5 people in 2 different cars.
So basically, you remember going to sleep, and the next memory you have.
I was in handcuffs 30 miles away.
Swick's toxicology report shows the only substance in his system that night was Zolpidem, the generic of Ambien. The FDA-approved sleeping aid warns people it can cause complex sleep behaviors, even sleep driving.
I walked, I would say, no more than 20 feet to my bed. Lights off, doors locked, garage shut, and went to sleep.
Police say Swick fired at 2 random cars along Highway 21 before crashing his truck near Highway B.
I was telling them I was being chased by go-karts or men in go-karts, men in fur coats, men in invisible fur coats. Now, I don't remember any of that.
No one was struck by Swick's gunfire.
Well, what could have happened is so real, and it's a miracle that it didn't. It's almost like I'm sad, not just of what I caused, but what could have occurred, just like that.
Now, he says,
I think that Ambien should be taken off the market.
The drug's medication guide states, after taking Ambien, you may get up out of bed while not being fully awake and do an activity that you do not know you are doing. It continues, some of these complex sleep behaviors have caused serious injury and death. The Ambien defense has been used by celebrities too. Roseanne Barr blamed the sleeping pill for racist tweets that ended her show. Representatives from Sanofi, which makes the drug, did not return emails seeking comment from the I-Team. But they responded to Roseanne's case, stating, quote, racism is not a known side effect.
One of the things that the prosecutor said during the sentencing hearing is that you could have prevented this. Do you agree with that?
I could have by not taking Ambien, yeah.
The night of the shooting wasn't the first time Swick says he experienced side effects, but he says it was the first time it turned violent.
I've never experienced like going to take an Ambien, going to bed, and waking up in a different room.
In 2010, he purposely stayed awake after taking the pill. His ex-wife recorded him with her cell phone.
It's because you don't believe me whenever I tell you what kinds of things you say.
Prosecutors used that video in court this month as proof that Swick knew the drug altered his reality.
Groundhog's holding out a spatula that has a frog on it. The frog is actually the mastermind.
A forensic psychiatrist testified the video was helpful to Swick's defense. It showed the difference between what happened when Swick was conscious as opposed to when he was asleep, like he was on the night of the shooting.
It doesn't make sense if you're not on it.
He pleaded guilty to reduced assault charges and DWI. Prosecutors did not oppose probation. Judge Vic Mellenbrink did. He sentenced Swick to 7 years in prison. All Swick says he can think about now is how he's no longer just an insurance executive with a clean record.
One of the reasons why I'm upset is because I am now a living example to my kids of what you shouldn't be, and that's a felon. I'm a felon.
Swick will be reporting to prison on December 27th. Despite being sentenced to 7 years behind bars, the law allows him to become eligible for probation in 120 days. None of the victims attended Swick's court hearing and did not submit any impact statements to the judge. For the I-Team, Christine Byers, 5 on your side.
And if you have a tip for Christine and the 5 on your side I-Team, you can leave a voice message, 314-444-5231, or you can send an email to tips@ksdk.com. All calls and correspondence will be kept confidential. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell is back with the weather first forecast. Rain in some places, right, Scott?
In some places right now. In fact, in the last hour over at Scott Air Force Base, they picked up 0.04 of an inch from that little shower that went through there. A lot of what we're seeing east of St. Louis here out along Interstate 64, much of that initially is not reaching the ground, or it's partially or mostly evaporating, so very limited amounts are reaching the ground. But then once we get a little farther west, after that sits over you for a little bit, then you do start to get it reaching the ground. And right now, slicing right here through Jefferson County, we do have some moisture that's certainly reaching the ground around Peevely. That's going to push this line that's coming along Highway 21. That's going to push towards Interstate 55, so Imperial, and then sliding across the river towards Waterloo and Valmeyer. So temperatures where we've had a little bit of rain, it's a little bit cooler. 44 degrees in Millstop right now, 46 in Mascoutah. No rain in Creve Coeur at 53. Lake St. Louis seems to have been dry. Still 53 degrees there as well. Lambert hasn't had any rain yet. 54. It is 10:19 on December 21st. Winter solstice just occurred just under an hour ago. Still 54 degrees. Our high today was 62. Well, it was 40. We're not getting that cool tonight. You'll see more rain pushing in towards daybreak. Tomorrow morning looks rather soggy. We're going to see temperatures drop back into the 40s. Early tomorrow morning, we're in the upper 40s. In the afternoon, low 50s. By tomorrow evening, most of the rain's pushing out. This is the system we're dealing with for tomorrow. Have to go all the way out to California to find the system we're going to be dealing with Saturday night and into Sunday. In between, there's a pretty good area here where there's not a whole lot happening. Guess what? That's what's coming our way for Saturday. It'll be the pick day for those of you that are just starting to think about getting gifts and doing some shopping. Well, Saturday, mainly dry conditions. Be nice to be walking around Main Street, St. Charles, or over in Belleville. Temperatures are going to be back into the lower 60s. As we head towards Christmas Eve, especially later in the day, the rain will be lining up to our west. Will we have rain in here during Christmas Eve? Well, it's possible, especially west of St. Louis, but the chances are greater back into mid-Missouri. Eventually, all of that rain does, in fact, slide over St. Louis in time for Christmas morning and much of Christmas Day, although the intensity should start to fade some. And we'll watch that snow on the far western edge of this system. At this point, there is still very little, if any, chance we could get snowflakes here, let's say along about Tuesday as it gets a little bit colder. It still doesn't look like it's cold enough. We've had that problem all winter long, and it looks like that will continue. Temperatures in the lower 60s for highs Saturday and Sunday, still well into the 50s on Christmas Day, but then we'll cool it back into the 40s as we head through the rest of next week. Don't expect much sunshine from now until probably the end of next week. Very
Looks like
limited.
it's getting a little warmer toward the weekend.
Yeah, the weekend is going to be warmer.
Yeah.
I mean, today we were 62, so we're in that same territory.
Yeah. All right, Scott. Corey is next with sports.
Bragging rights got started early tonight on the wrestling mat at Stiefel Theater, and the Blues bounced back in a big way down in Miami. Stick around, sports is up next.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
The 2023 Blues are kind of like the weather in St. Louis. If you don't like it, just wait a few days and it's going to be the exact opposite. The Blues' Florida trip may have started on a flat note in Tampa, but it sure ended on a high one tonight in Miami. Joel Hofer in net against the Eastern Conference champion Florida Panthers tonight. He was great. Blues strike first. Patience pays off, and Jordan Kyrou gives St. Louis the lead. Not long after, that top line was added again. Thomas, Kyrou, Buchnevich. Look at this dandy of a shot and goal. Bucci makes it 2-0. This was the only way to beat Joel Hofer tonight. Weird bounce off the glass. It's going to end up in the Blues net for Florida. Truly an odd goal. But that's all the Panthers would get. Toropchenko and Buchnevich add 2 more. Hofer stops 36 of 37. Blues win 4-1.
To be honest with you, it was a response I expected. Like that's a character team in there. I know they've gone through some tough spells here in the last little while, but that was expected, and I mean they dug in here tonight.
When bragging rights arrives, you know Christmas is just around the corner. We'll get to the annual basketball battle in a second, but first we have to head to the wrestling mat, where Mizzou and Illinois kicked off bragging rights early with the first ever sporting event at Stiefel Theater. Just an awesome event, part of the Lou to the Zoo series, championed by the St. Louis Sports Commission. Packed house for the #2 ranked Tigers. Couple of big moves here from Josh Edmond at the 140 weight class. He took care of Illinois' Danny Pacino. Some cool intros coming up tonight as well. The wrestlers ran down through the crowd, high fives everywhere as they got to the stage. You won't see that every day. Here comes James Conway with a huge takedown. Two-time NCAA champ Keegan O'Toole jumped up a weight class and still won to be named tonight's outstanding wrestler. Tigers got the win over Illinois, 29-6. Of course, tomorrow is basketball's time to shine for bragging rights. 13th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini, led by Terrence Shannon Jr., have big goals this season, and regaining bragging rights after last year's beatdown from the Tigers is definitely on that list. Coach Brad Underwood always looks forward to this environment.
In this game, when those momentum swings happen, the crowd really does impact, and you notice, on both sides. So I think that part of it's very unique, and I know how important it is to our fans in Champaign, and they talk about this game all year. So it's it's turned into a really, really big deal, and time has done that.
The Tigers come into this year's bragging rights game having won 4 of the last 5 years, including last year's 22-point drubbing of the Illini and Coach Dennis Gates' first year in the rivalry. It didn't take long for Gates to embrace this matchup and what it means for both schools.
And this rivalry has been one that sometimes people overlook and not give the credit where the credit's due. And through the years, former players have always talked about this one game beyond the 29 or 30 others in their basketball career of an electric atmosphere and memorable moments, but also defining moments in the young people's careers.
Big news for Mizzou football earlier today. Eli Drinkwitz announced that both of his coordinators are staying in Columbia. Offensive coordinator Kirby Moore and defensive coordinator Blake Baker have inked contract extensions. They would have likely been hot commodities on the coaching market had they decided to test the waters. City SC news today, the team has acquired Norwegian-American right back Thomas Totland from a Swedish First Division club. Totland signed a 3-year deal for City with a club option for 2027. The 24-year-old back most recently played in the Europa League. Going to see a lot of orange and blue and black and gold this week downtown.
Oh, yeah.
A big weekend for bragging rights.
A very big weekend. All right, Corey. A doting dad is excited his daughter is home for the holidays, and he found the best way to spread Christmas cheer. Finally tonight, Buddy the Elf traveled through the 7 levels of the candy cane forest, through the sea of swirly, twirly gumdrops, and then finally through Terminal 1 at St. Louis Lambert International Airport. That's Brett Beeman of O'Fallon, Missouri, dressed up as the beloved movie character and reenacting some of Buddy's famous antics. He did it to surprise his daughter, Kaylin, who arrived home from college today.
It's Kaylin! I know her! I know her! I want to sing you a song. I'm glad you're home from college because I missed you. I love you, I love you, I love you.
In case you were wondering, Kaylin was a little speechless, but she wasn't embarrassed. The student at Rochester Institute of Technology in New York State is a huge fan of cosplay. How would Lydia react if you did that?
Oh, I don't think she would be happy at all. At all.
I have a feeling you're right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad she wasn't embarrassed. Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next. Be sure to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great evening and a great morning.